Earlier this year, I spent a whole month in Japan where I visited every single LGS you could possibly imagine. From dingy underground stores to some of the largest in the country, if you could find it on Google Maps, I probably went there. So for the next month, I'll be posting loads of content where I explore Japan's major cities and show you exactly what they have to offer in the world of Magic the Gathering. This is a series I'm calling Tapped Out in Japan.
Now he is back in full force.
Over the last few weeks, I've been traveling throughout Japan in search of the coolest and funkiest looking Magic the Gathering cards ever printed. And today we'll be visiting Kyoto and Osaka in search to see which one is better. If you haven't watched my previous video where I visited all the Magic the Gathering stores in Tokyo, I'd highly recommend checking that one out after today's video. This piece, however, will explore some of Japan's more quieter stores, but maybe, just maybe, there's some hidden gems out there. For the first leg of this video, we'll be stopping in Kyoto. Kyoto is one of Japan's more historically significant cities that houses some of the most beautiful temples, shrines, and architecture in all of Japan. So what better way to explore this lived-in museum than by stopping at our first cluster of Magic the Gathering stores. Kyoto being smaller compared to Tokyo and Osaka means that they really only have about 2 big clusters of stores, with our first one being located here. So let's make our way to our first stop of the day, Yellow Submarine. Yellow Submarine is a super popular and common hobby store located all around Japan, where they sell not just TCGs, but board games and other hobby knickknacks as well. This one, however, I felt was a massive step ahead of its Tokyo counterparts, and if you're here for Magic the Gathering, it's honestly pretty good. Located on the 4th floor, their collection is around the middle left-hand side of the store, and they have a massive chunk of cards on display through their cabinets. Here you can find cards from a wide range of sets and price points, even including secret layers. I had also spent some time digging through the bulk, but nothing really stood out to me. Cards here were sorted by set, and then all the way down at the bottom they had more miscellaneous cards sorted by color. They even had a pauper tray, which I actually thought was really cool. Their prices were pretty average, as most are with these franchise TCG stores here in Japan, but I did pick up this pretty cool looking diorama, which is actually incredible to build. Overall, this store is definitely a step up from the usual Yellow Submarines, but let's move on to see what else we can find. Located just down the road from Yellow Submarine is another popular chain you can find all over Japan, Amenity Dream. And also as a disclaimer, Amenity Dream only takes cash, so be prepared for that. Now once you make your way into the 3rd floor, you'll find the Magic section located along the right wall. Here you'll find a collection of higher end singles of Standard, Modern, Pauper, and Commander, as well as a bunch of cheeky other like Vintage and Secret Lair cards. Their collection is pretty well rounded, and the first few things that stood out to me was this Kiss Ungiven, which I cannot believe is so goddamn cheap now. I also found this Bitter Blossom, which is super popular, and it actually was like not a bad price, I think, but I'm gonna confirm it in the edit. Also, they had their single trays here, but nothing here really tickled my fancy. Now, because this store is cash, their prices are usually on the cheaper end, especially for sealed products, so I ended up walking away with a cheeky Lorwyn Collector booster, which I actually haven't opened up yet, so let's just do it now before we get to the next store. This area also has 2 more stores called Card Fox and Trika Capital, but neither of them stock Magic the Gathering anymore, so I wouldn't waste too much time popping in there. It's also worth noting that the further you are from Tokyo, the harder it's going to be to find English speaking cards. I don't think cards can speak, but you know what I mean. But this does make the hunt for English cards obviously much harder. Now after these stops, it was about time for dinner, so I called it a day and I got ready to visit the next cluster, which was about a 40-minute walk from my hotel. The next day I woke up to a downfall of snow, which was actually pretty amazing. I spent the morning exploring the streets of Kyoto while trying not to slip and die. Now I know a lot of my viewership is from the US, but I've actually never seen snow before. This is the first time in my entire life I've actually ever seen snow. So it was unreal and a really cool way just to experience a new city and experience a new, I don't know, weather type. Now after I rugged up even more, it was time to head to the next cluster of stores located right next to Kyoto Station. We had 3 stores on the list today, which included Play Kyoto Station Store, Giraful, and the one and only Haruya. Unfortunately, the first few stores on this don't stock Magic cards anymore, and one thing I have noticed is that cards will either have Magic or Duel Masters. It's very rare to find both, and these two obviously had Duel Masters. After a disappointing start to the day, I trekked through the snow to find a Haruya, and I knew 100% I wasn't going to let down here. Located on the 6th floor, this store is easily the best Magic the Gathering store in Kyoto, and for good reason. If you haven't heard of Haruya, this is Japan's premier Magic the Gathering outlet, with stores that span across all different cities in Japan. One of my favorite stores in the entire world is Haruya Tournament Center in Takanonobaba, and it is so amazing. You have to check it out. Haruya Kyoto is a much smaller but still great example of what this chain does best: organized cards, cool displays, and gambling. When I arrived, the store was full of players hanging out and socializing in what I thought was like an organized event for the day. They had a pretty good selection of cards inside the display cabinets and even a claw machine where you could win a stack of random cards, and it was only 100 yen, so of course I had to give it a go. Along the back wall, they also have their single trays where they're filled with mostly Japanese cards. Fortunately, I was able to dig out a few diamonds in the rough here and take home a few cards to make my 45-minute trek in the snow worth it. Some of the cards I picked up included this Hypnotic Spectre, Shadow Mage Infiltrator, Azorius and Demir Signets, Cremate, Angel Trumpet, Chainer Dementia Master, Undercity Informant, Putrid Imp, and a few other random lands. All up, including this bonus sticker, which was definitely overpriced. This cost me 2,150 yen, or about 14 USD. After Haruya, my time finally came to a close in Kyoto, and it was time to make my way to Japan's third largest city, Osaka. Before we make it into the city, if you're enjoying this video, please subscribe. I'm trying to hit 10,000 subscribers, and I'd really appreciate it if you could help me reach this goal. And check out some of my other Japan videos. I got plenty on my channel and plenty more coming on my channel, so I hope you enjoy. Osaka is known for its popular nightlife, beautiful castles, and much more. But during my downtime here, I wanted to discover what the city had to offer in terms of Magic the Gathering. Similar to Kyoto, there is a main cluster of stores located in Namba, which is where I was staying, and there were 4 main stops that stuck out to me: Haruya, Big Magic, another Yellow Submarine, and a place called the TCG Specialty Store, which looked like a board game / bar, similar to Tokyo MTG Salon over in Shinjuku. And I read the reviews, and apparently you could even borrow EDH decks from the front counter, and it sounded like a really good vibe. So let's get into it. First store I popped into in Osaka was a Yellow Submarine, and this shop was actually pleasantly surprising. Located on the ground floor, which is completely unheard of, this store had a whole dedicated area to Magic the Gathering right at the back. Their wall was filled with display cabinets with singles across Magic the Gathering's history, but what really surprised me was their bulk collection. This store easily had the largest and most organized collection of bulk out of any single Yellow Submarine I visited on my whole tour of Japan. They had all the boxes labeled from years and years of releases, as well as binders full of pictures of cards that you could take to the front and ask for. Overall, this shop was a pleasant surprise and it set the tone really well for what my next store was going to be. If you've been around this channel for a while now, you would know that Big Magic is one of my favorite chains of Magic the Gathering stores in Japan. And similar to other locations, this one did not disappoint. Located on the bottom floor again, fuck you stairs, Big Magic is known for stocking the best collection of high-end singles, secret layer cards, and other rare and interesting finds. Now, one thing Big Magic does really well is card ordering. Each store you go to will have an iPad where you can go in, search up all the cards you want from the list, and then 10 minutes later they'll call out your number and you pick them up. It's pretty simple. I ended up putting in a bunch of cards that I needed for other decks, including Metamai the Ageless, Raffine, Starwinder, and a Wild Mana Clash, which I found in their bulk bins, which they did have there. All up, this totaled to about $8 USD, and for anyone interested in high-end singles and secret layers, I would highly recommend checking out this store, as it's only down the road from all the other stores that we're going to be visiting on this list. Now, speaking of down the road, the next store on this list is the one and only Haruya Osaka. And I think by this point, you should know what to expect. When you make your way in, you'll be greeted by single cabinets full of different displays of cards, all ranging from about 3 USD all the way to about 1,000 USD. And on the left-hand side of the store, this is where the real homies actually live, and it's the bulk trays. And of course, you guessed it, I settled in and started searching the trays for anything special. Unfortunately, nothing really stuck out to me this time, so I didn't pick anything up. The best thing about being in more populated cities in Japan is that you have a higher chance of finding English cards. The bad part is that these stores are visited by hundreds of people every day, and it's so hard to find hidden gems when obviously they've all been picked out before you got there. So it's a bit of a trade-off. Now, the final store on this list, and the one I was most excited for in Osaka, was this TCG Specialty Store. And unfortunately, the 2 days I was in Osaka was the 2 days they were closed, so I wasn't able to enter. And I was really upset about this, but the reviews look really good. And if you're in Osaka, or if you visited this store before, please let me know what you think and convince me to come back so I can visit this store exclusively. Womp womp. Overall, I had an absolute blast traveling around Japan and exploring the country through one of my favorite hobbies of all time, Magic the Gathering. I also think it's safe to say that Osaka is definitely a better city than Kyoto for Magic the Gathering, But that doesn't mean that Kyoto doesn't have hidden gems. Japan is really awesome for buying and selling Magic the Gathering cards, and it's unlike anything I can experience back at home, and I really wanted to make the most of it, and I really think that I did. If you enjoyed this video, I would highly recommend checking out my other Japan vlogs and my other videos I did while I was on holiday here, and you can check out my Tokyo videos where I built commander decks and anything else that might be coming out in the future. These videos took a monumental effort and weeks of planning, traveling, and editing. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and support what I do so I can keep doing it again. If you are planning on traveling to Japan and you're looking to explore what they have to offer in terms of Magic the Gathering, leave a comment and any questions or concerns you have, and I'll also have a link in the description for my Google list where you can see every single store that I visited for yourself. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.